I want to start with a very simple question. Do you think Justin Trudeau should stay on as Liberal leader?
No, I don't.
We have got some breaking news for you. Welcome back to Moose on Loose. My name's David, and today's top stories are all breaking news. We've got one of Justin Trudeau's Liberal MPs going on camera and saying he needs to step down. He does an interview with the CBC. The guy fully says Trudeau is not fit to be the leader of the party. He wants him to step down. We've got the group Samidoun, the ones that are responsible for all those wonderful things they say, like recently in the steps of the Vancouver Public Library, or if you're in Montreal, Ottawa, or Toronto, they're the ones kindly blocking the streets with the black, white, red, green flags. That group has now been designated a T-word organization. And finally, we've got Justin Trudeau's motorcade being attacked by those exact people. They block him, they surround him. It is unreal. Things you would never expect to see happen in this country. So let's jump into it. Samidoun, the pro-Palestinian group here, which is the ones who are chanting death to Canada, have officially been listed as a T-word organization. So Pierre Poilievre, John Rustad, both very much pressuring the government. I guess this is a very bizarre turn of events, but I guess after the chance of death to Canada, maybe they felt like they had to do something. I mean, they did, but the Trudeau Liberals, they don't care about Canadians, I guess, to save their image. With that, we have a bunch of these T-word people unleashing havoc across Canada, including attacking Justin Trudeau's motorcade like a bunch of barbarians. First off, we'll just take a look here. In United States as well has designated Samidoun. This is really where the pressure is coming from. It's not just Liberals deciding to do this. They likely got a call from America and said, hey, you guys need to do this with us at the same time, but they both did it the same day here. If you're not up to date on this, or you're just jumping into the politics here in Canada, Samidoun is essentially a group that acts on behalf of Hamas in Western countries like America and Canada. They organize the events. They're the ones fundraising. They were charities, as it says here, anti-Israel charities, collecting money, donations, and then sending that back to the T-word groups, their leaders, their masters back home. There are certain things now they can't do. We've got this interview here with Vasi Kapelos and Anthony Housefather. It's kind of funny. They posted this on their YouTube channel, and well, that's what it sounds like. Then it cuts out altogether and there's no audio on this video. But digging over here on their website, they have it on here, so take a look.
Tangibly, what changes now for people who are, I guess there's a little bit of a separation, like people who are involved in organizing this kind of stuff versus people who are supportive or attending these kinds of events in which this language is being used? Like, what can you tell us about what this designation does saliently?
When you're designated, you can't operate. So they will no longer be a recognized Canadian nonprofit. You can't donate money to them, and they can't raise money. They cannot have activities. It would be illegal to participate in one of their activities in Canada. So these hate rallies.
So they shouldn't be able to group up. So I guess starting forward today, it would be breaking law if these people get together in a group. Isn't that interesting?
So these hate rallies that they've been having, initiating on campuses or elsewhere, glorifying the events of October the 7th, glorifying terrorism, calling for death to America, death to Canada, death to Israel, they would no longer be able to organize these rallies. At least openly.
Yeah, so can you clarify, like my understanding?
That's huge. That basically means the police now have jurisdiction to arrest these people just on that one cause alone. Will they? Probably not, because they're under the thumb of Trudeau, but they should be. As
it certainly impacts their ability to use money, to get money, to have money donated, and certainly on the financial track. But is there anything within this designation that prevents them from, as offensive as it is, saying the stuff they're saying in a public space?
Well, again, people in Canada have a right, when you don't cross the line into hate speech, to say things. So that wouldn't change, but the group itself cannot organize in the activity where it happens. That is my understanding.
So, I mean, Anthony Housefather there said a lot of words. It's all up to, what they actually do to enforce this, because now it's against law for those people to be grouping up. Will they obey the laws? No. They haven't been since day one. They don't care. Once Poilievre gets into power, then he can tell the cops to actually arrest all these people and get them out of here. Got this article here from the CBC. It says Samidoun, also known as the Palestinian Prisoner Solidarity Network, has close links with the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. The PFLP is listed as a T-word group here in Canada, US, and European Union. With that, we've got posted here by Right Blend. This is coming from Chris Dacey. Justin Trudeau's motorcade gets attacked by these pro-Palestinian, I don't know if these are Samidoun or who they are, but If this isn't a attack, I don't know what is. Forget it's Justin Trudeau. Just the thought that there's a bunch of people jumping on the car of the Prime Minister of Canada. That should be immediate imprisonment, I would suspect. So you might be thinking, oh, there's only like 8 people there, but you don't know, do one of them have a bag of Boom Boom toys because they don't like that it was just announced that they're now part of a terrorist organization. That's the thing to think about here. It doesn't take more than one person to completely pow. The fact there's 8 of them there, they don't know what's in their bags there.
This is the RCMP. RCMP trying to get through Justin Trudeau's office. This is the RCMP trying to get through.
Why aren't they just jumping out right now and like getting them all to lay on the ground, calling some other cops to get this cop back here and arresting all of them? You know full well that if the Freedom Convoy was like this, every single person would still be in jail today, every single Canadian. But because these are doing it, Justin Trudeau's okay with it. What a load of crap. This country is so broken.
This is the RCMP trying to get through here. The RCMP appear to be retreating. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police retreating. Ottawa Police noticeably absent.
Are they really going to let them push them around? Are you kidding me? Justin Trudeau just got pushed around by a bunch of goons in the street. This is embarrassing to our country.
Where 2 RCMP vehicles attached to Justin Trudeau tried to get through into his office. This mob behind rushed the vehicles. The RCMP had to retreat. Ottawa Police are on scene, but not much happening. The roads are still blocked. Justin Trudeau's detail is still blocked in.
So it looks like there's 35 to 40 of them there. Like I said, it only takes one of them with some pow toys and it's game over. Big thumbs up here to Chris Stacey going out here and doing this stuff. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near those people. They're angry, they're unhinged, and they've now been deemed not a good group in Canada. We've got some other clips here at different angles. So I guess these people run Canada now under Justin Trudeau. Bring in the army. Yeah, no kidding. Clean this crap out of our country. Now, with the announcement of Samidoun being a T-word group in Canada, we're seeing all sorts of crazy protests. We've got this one here, Union Station, 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. A bunch of non-taxpayers just disrupting Canadians' lives. Time to send them home. Here's a close-up shot of all this nuttiness. What's interesting is the caption on this one. It says, just before he shot this video, he overheard 2 women attending a conference from out of town and said they would never return to this crazy S-hole. Are we really surprised this stuff is ruining Canada's image? Justin Trudeau's let this in. He opened the door wide open, and now we have a bunch of nutcases running around our streets trying to demand that they control everything, and they want to do whatever they want to certain people in our country. We got this clip here outside the Israeli embassy. More of these friendly characters sharing their love.
Zionism is a disease, an evil, cancerous disease that must be eradicated. But this evil is not the doing of Zionist entity alone.
I think we're all gobsmacked at this point that this has gotten this far.
It cannot be, for without the support of imperialist, colonial, terrorist states like America, like Canada, the Zionist entity would be nothing.
If you don't like it, it's time for you to go to jail. She's calling Canada a T-word entity, yet Canada just called them a T-word entity. Delightful, loyal Canadians. Yeah, no kidding. With that, we've got this in Montreal, a whole bunch of them in the middle of an intersection blocking it. I mean, there's got to be a way to clear out these guys from blocking the roads. Some of that fake fart juice, I think you can buy on Amazon, might do the trick. Start spraying that everywhere. I think it'll clear out pretty quick. And finally, we got one last clip here of these wonderful, happy people sharing their love in Canada.
We free our lives, please get the Zions out. One, we'll free our prisoners. Two, we'll free our land. Three, get the Zions out.
My worry is the words become actions. So with all the craziness going on in Canada, we've got this developing story here. We've got Sean Casey. This is a PEI Liberal. He's a bonehead. He really doesn't like Pierre Poilievre, but he is calling out Trudeau, and he wants Trudeau to step down. He's stepping forward publicly and announcing this. Not only announcing this, he went on the very woke David Cochran's show here on CBC and did a 10-minute interview of how he doesn't want Justin Trudeau running the Liberal Party.
I want to start with a very simple question. Do you think Justin Trudeau should stay on as Liberal leader?
No, I don't. My job has always been to project the voice of the people I represent in Ottawa, to be Charlottetown's representative in Ottawa and not the reverse. And the message that I've been getting loud and clear and more strongly as time goes by is that it's time for him to go. And I agree.
Did you come to that conclusion before you started hearing it at the doors? I mean, when you talk to people in your riding, what are your constituents saying to you?
There's a general malaise. There's a level of tiredness. The number one issue at the doors in Prince Edward Island has for a long time been healthcare. That's been supplanted by concerns over leadership. And people have had enough. They've tuned him out, and they want him to go. I can't tell you the number of people that have said to me, Sean, I'm afraid of Poilievre. I want to vote for you, but I can't.
So do you, this is something
I'm afraid of Poilievre. These are these bootlicker Trudeau supporters, but they're no longer Trudeau supporters. So some of them are moving over to NDP. The Green Party, they're scared of Poilievre. They took 2 seconds to look at what Poilievre is offering. It's quite literally better on every aspect of Canadian life.
heard from MPs that I've been speaking with over the last little while, and I'm sure you have read the reports and maybe even seen evidence of it yourself, of the efforts to try to force a leadership change at the top of your party. How widespread is the sentiment you've just expressed inside the Liberal caucus?
I would say it's wider than what meets the eye, honestly. There are a lot of people who have concerns. There are many who have a myriad of reasons not to express them. But those that have come to the same conclusion as me seem to be becoming more emboldened with the passage of time. I think that to a person, it's for the same reason as me, is because everywhere they go in their riding, that's what they're getting.
Do you know about these efforts to get people to sign on to a pledge or to draft a letter to bring to the Prime Minister to ask him to resign?
Only secondhand, and really not much more than what has been reported in the media.
Okay, because my information and my other colleagues is that maybe a couple of dozen people have either signed on or pledged to sign on. The hope is the number could grow. We saw reporting from my colleague Althea Raj in the Toronto Star that it's 30 to 40 people, MPs who maybe are part of it. Does that align with what you're seeing and hearing when you talk to people in your caucus, or does that seem way too high?
That seems plausible, but I don't have anything to base it on. I can tell you that I have not talked to or don't know of 30 or 40 people. I talked to one person that was at one of the meetings that told me there were 20 plus people there. There's probably been a dozen that I've talked to that would align with that. So the number is probably higher than a dozen and possibly higher than 20.
Okay.
It's probably all the backbenchers because they weren't promised a way to steal Canadians' tax dollars like many of the ministers we have right now, Randy Balsanout, Stephen Guilbeault, et cetera, So add up the back rows there, and that's probably what the number will be.
Okay, so 20 plus people at a single meeting to talk about trying to remove Justin Trudeau as Liberal leader. This is 20 plus Liberal MPs. I want to make sure I'm clear on what you're saying there.
That's what I've heard. I wasn't there.
Okay. You're running again, right? That's your plan as of right now, Sean Casey. Will you run again if Justin Trudeau is still the leader?
If he signs my nomination papers, I think this interview may have an impact on that.
Okay, so whether he stays or...
He's laughing. He knows he's screwed.
Or goes doesn't determine whether you stay or go. But do you think you risk repercussion by having this conversation today?
I honestly doubt it. And whether he stays or goes, yes, I am running again. I have an obligation to the people of Charlottetown to keep Pierre Poilievre out of the Prime Minister's chair in any way, shape, or form. I think I'm the best bet to be able to do that. I hope my...
Sean Casey needs to sit down. Let's just take a look here. Charlottetown. Huh. This guy is screwed. CPC likely. He's done. This bonehead's going to get thrown out of office just like Trudeau.
My constituents feel the same way. And whether Justin Trudeau is a leader or not, if I am, I have completed all of the prerequisites to be able to run. I've done the 3,500 doors. I've got 65% of the spending limit in the bank account. I've got all the required monthly donors. So I'm good to go, and I'm girding for the fight. This is a fight worth fighting, regardless of whether or not we have Justin Trudeau leading the party.
But Justin Trudeau's argument, and the people close to him, is that he's the best option to stop Pierre Poilievre. You say, based on what you're hearing in Charlottetown, that that is not true. So if not Justin Trudeau, who should lead the Liberal Party? Are you advocating for a particular candidate or just a leadership change?
I'm advocating for a leadership change, not for a particular candidate. I think that there are several very qualified people who would inspire the country. Any one of a handful of names that we frequently hear. And unfortunately, people have tuned Justin Trudeau out. I think a robust leadership convention would spark a lot of interest.
I would love to know who he's thinking about right now. Carbon tax Carney? Like who is he thinking about? There's no one in the Liberal bench that's going to just revitalize this party. This party has stolen our money, is running our country into the ground. People are starving. People are ending themselves. There's not like some magic person. They bringing in Santa? Like who's going to run this party?
Bring forward some new ideas and have people looking at the Liberal Party all over again without the malaise or the tiredness factor that we see every day.
There has been an argument I've heard from...
It's not a tiredness, it's corruption and scandals. Canadians' tax dollars being wasted on stupid things, being flushed into bank accounts it shouldn't be flushed into.
MPs, we're both East Coasters. I've heard it from that part of the country that they believe the ceiling of accessible voters goes way up if there is a leadership change, and there's a potentially broader pool of the electorate open to you. I'm told this is something that has been discussed pretty widely in Atlantic Caucus. Is that something you and your colleagues are talking about?
That's something that I've heard, and I think that's something that everyone is talking about, quite frankly. If Justin Trudeau was to leave, there would be risk. If there was a divisive leadership contest, there would be risk. But the upside of having a new leader is significantly higher than if he stays, in my view.
What?
Justin Trudeau makes $1,117 a day. Do you think the guy's stepping down? He's a greedy, selfish, arrogant narcissist. He only cares about himself, money, and power. He's not stepping down for you or anyone else. He doesn't care.
What does it say, Mr. Casey, that 20 plus people from inside your caucus are having meetings to talk about the need for a leadership change? I mean, what does that say where you are right now as a party? Because that suggests a pretty high level of anxiety inside that caucus.
You're exactly right. There's a high level of anxiety, and there are members of caucus that every single day are hearing it in their communities, and they've come together. I mean, that's what we do. We are constantly comparing notes and determining how best to advance the interests of our constituents.
So I can hear the pushback now. You're an MP who's been around a while. You're not in cabinet. There's sour grapes motivating this. You know this is going to come from certain circles. I mean, what do you say to what is likely to be the pushback here? Because since news of these letters and these efforts started circulating on Friday, that's kind of been a bit of the pushback, that it's the people who never got what they wanted when the Liberals formed government.
This is not about me. This is about the people that I've been elected to represent. And if people want to take shots at me, I guess that's kind of what I signed up for. but that's not the reason I'm here, and that's not the reason why I am doing my best to be the voice of Charlottetown in Ottawa.
If you're a patriotic Canadian, you would put your pledge in support for Pierre Poilievre. Let's get real.
You've looked at the polls just like everybody else has. If Justin Trudeau stays and you go into the election without a massive change, I mean, where do you think the Liberal Party ends up based on what you're seeing and hearing out there?
It's honestly hard to know. The campaign's going to matter. I think the longer the spotlight shines on Poilievre, the less people are going to like him. I don't think that a turnaround in the economy is all of a sudden going to cause people to flock to the Liberal Party under Justin Trudeau again.
The more people get to know Poilievre, the more they like him. That's what actually happens if you look at the polling numbers. And speaking of which, looking at federal polling, I mean, look, Poilievre's numbers have just continued to go up here. Even now, it's still going up here. Trudeau's numbers are just going down. You can see here 43% to 23%, NDP at 18%.
It's hard to know. I think there is significant downside and limited upside, so I'm worried.
So you think a change in leadership potentially lowers the floor, but also potentially dramatically raises the ceiling for Liberals? Have you expressed this to the Prime Minister, to the Prime Minister's office? Do they know you feel this way?
Yes, I had a direct conversation with the Prime Minister on July the 5th and said to him many of the things that I'm saying to you now, including that in my view, history will be very kind to Justin Trudeau. The things that he has put in place over the last 9 years have been truly transformational.
This guy's a comedian. Get him in yuck yucks. Wow, just with that alone, you can't believe a single word out of this guy's mouth. I bet I know how that conversation went. He went up to Trudeau's like, "Oh, Mr. Trudeau, I think it's time for you to step down." And then that was basically it.
But the electorate are no longer listening to him.
Well, there you have it. That's quite the interview. This guy, this is a desperate move because he knows, I just showed the polling numbers, he's not getting reelected. He's getting tossed out. So it's Hail Mary. Might as well go for it. This guy thinks Trudeau's done all this great stuff for Canada in the past 9 years. This guy's out to lunch. And on this same topic, we've also got Anthony Housefather that was interviewed by Vasti Capellos on this.
Is your support of the Prime Minister, do you still support the Prime Minister?
I support whoever is the leader of my party at all times, but that doesn't mean there shouldn't be a robust caucus discussion about who the best person to lead us in the next election is. And that discussion should happen in caucus. It shouldn't happen in the media.
So do I take that as you're part of that discussion?
I certainly hope the entire caucus and the Prime Minister are part of that discussion. It's discussions that are ongoing and should happen in every party at all times, right? Every party wants to win the next election, and you've got to talk about what is the best way for us to win the next election, the best way for us to do well, the best way for us to respond to Canadians, and those are discussions I think that should happen within caucus and.
This weaselly little guy, Anthony Housefather, doesn't want to say a single thing. He doesn't want to rock the boat. He doesn't want to piss off Papa Trudeau. Jumping over to my group, let's see what memes we've got today. I haven't been back to Canada for a couple of years. I just got $140 carbon rebate. My parents still live in Ontario and get nothing. This is a real problem with the carbon tax rebate. Clearly, they have no way of verifying this or checking this. It's just stupid. Not only that, they're spending $200 million to administer these carbon tax rebates, and they're not even going to the right people. And a bunch of people in Canada don't get them. And then people who don't live in Canada are getting them. Help, help, England. Thanks. I mean, this is basically what's going on, especially in England. Jeez. A man who lacks purpose distracts himself with pleasure. That's a good, that's spot on, actually. Queers for Palestine. Chickens for KFC. If you want to know who the bad guys are, it is the side who wants you arrested for memes and jokes. You're sad because the carbon tax is starving your family. Would you like... We're not going there. Air India's Delhi to Chicago flight diverted to Canada following those words. Things are just going nuts. Next up, we got this. Checking immigration status in Surrey. Wow. How Trudeau sees himself, how we see him. Yeah. Every day here in Canada, you just think it can't get any worse. Like, how much worse could it get? Even when with the SDTC scandal, like, surely this has to be the end of Trudeau, right? And it just keeps getting worse for him. Now we have like the motorcade. We've got a guy stepping down. We going on interview here. It just gets worse every day. I don't know how Trudeau is able to. It's just unbelievable. I guess at this point, maybe he's just pushing until there are no Liberals left.